Hare Krishna. On, I've switched on. Hare Krishna. Yeah. Hare Krishna. I'd like to welcome everyone today to our Bhakti Shstri program. Today we have a very special guest, Sitaram Lakshman Prabhu. You've flown in all the way from Perth, other end of the Australia, west coast, the east coast. So I know the feeling. So Sitaram Lakshman Prabhu is a disciple of His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. You probably know that. Been a devotee for almost 25 years now. So I've been associated with him from day one. And we had many ecstatic experiences in serving Guru and Gauranga. So he's stayed back one day after the AGM meeting we had in Otford, Govinda Valley. He stayed back one day to give us his association. I actually asked him to give the class, but he said I didn't give enough notice. But I have put his microphone on, so he will see the Bhakti Shstri already. Studied Bhagwatam, everything. A devotee for many years. Very strong devotee, stalwart. So I'm sure he has many deep realizations, which I request you to please share with us. We need that. So having said that, we'll chant the Mangal Charan prayers at the introduction of the Gita, and then we'll start chapter 12, text 6. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Mena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Tarugascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Crash. There's a book stand just in the lower shelf. Ruchika, can you get just behind? Book stand. Stand on the lower shelf, last shelf. Yeah. Thank you. Let's give to Sitaram Prabhu. Yeah. So we don't have a 12th chapter Guru here. Arvind not turned up. Shanti Mataji, welcome back. Hare Krishna. Yeah. All right, we'll just start reading. Samriddhi, 12.1. Just read Sloka translation up to 5. You do one, then we'll take it. Dance.
Arjuna Uvacha
Arjuna Uvacha
Evam Satata Yukta युक्ताये
evam satata yuktaye
Bhaktastvamparyupasate
bhaktasvam paryupasate
Ye chapi aksharam avyaktam
yechapi aksharam avyaktam
Tesham ke yoga vittamaha.
tesham ye yoga vidtamaha.
Arjuna inquired, which are considered to be more perfect? Those who are always properly engaged in your devotional service, or those who worship the impersonal Brahman, the unmanifested?
Thank you. You too. Vitalila.
Shri Bhagavan Vacha
Shri Bhagavan Vacha
Maya Vesha Manoye Mam
Maya Vesha Manoye Mam
Nitya Yukta Upasate
Nitya Yukta Upasate
Shraddhaya Parayopetas
Shraddhaya Parayopetas
Te me Yuktatmamataha.
Teme Yukta Tamamataha.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, those who fix their minds on my personal form and are always engaged in worshipping me with great and transcendental faith are considered by me to be most perfect.
So last time we discussed why Arjuna asking this question, which is better, impersonal or personal realization? Why did Arjuna ask the question?
Because we have a problem understanding that the personal and impersonal can be a part of the same
Correct.
Supreme Personality.
They think that absolute has to be either personal or impersonal. We cannot understand by mental speculation, by our own mental power, how it can be both simultaneously accommodated in the absolute truth. It's very good. Any other answers? Why is Arjuna asking the question at the beginning of 12th chapter? Mic. Give mic there, yeah. Because it's being broadcast without mic. If they speak, the others can't hear. It's on Mayapur TV, so yeah, right.
Because Krishna had just shown the universal form, so Arjuna clarified.
Yes, because impersonal form is the universal form is impersonal. So therefore, one may think that is the most important feature of the absolute truth. So therefore, Arjuna is clarifying. Very good. Thank you. Yeah. So those are the two main reasons. And of course, the third reason Prabhupada mentions also that Arjuna wants to clear his own position. What am I doing? Am I in the wrong team? Should I join the other party, the impersonal party? I am a devotee of Krishna, your devotee as Bhagavan. I am worshipping you in your personal form. Is that better or is there something higher? Am I missing out something? So he was clarifying his own position as well. Am I doing the right thing? So both for the benefit of others, for his own benefit, and for common misconception people have, right? Personal versus impersonalism. They think one or the other. So when you say God is a person, they say, why are you restricting God to one form? They don't understand that he is both personal and impersonal, and personal is the cause of impersonal. Just like in material, in this world also, consciousness is the cause of creation, not that the material nature is the cause of creation. So the common example is given of the scorpions coming out of the bag of rice. Who can you just explain that example? Scorpions coming out of the rice bag.
Yeah, maybe may not be much here, but in this yeah.
Switch it on. Is it on?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Like when we have a bag of rice there, sometimes because of the contamination of the scorpion, you can see some small scorpions coming out of the rice. Then someone can easily conclude that by just saying, the rice is producing some scorpions there. So, but once we have a bit more deeper understanding, they can understand that, only a scorpion sometimes laid some eggs there, and the legs, then in the course of time, again, they become scorpions, and the small scorpions are coming out of the rice. So, if you have a bit of a more clear understanding, you can conclude that. Otherwise, from an external vision, they can say, rice is producing some scorpions,
Similarly,
the impersonal picture is again part of the absolute truth. As some of you may have known that in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there's a verse there, Vedanti Tattvat Vidas tattvam ijnanadvayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaneti sabhyate. The absolute truth, the Vedantists, they concluded that the absolute truth is known in three features: Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. So, but some philosophers, they think the absolute truth is only the Brahman. But that is correct, but it's only a partial understanding of the absolute truth. It's not the complete understanding. Whereas when we know the Bhagavan, then actually we will also know the other features of the absolute truth too.
Thank you, Brahma. So according to the Vedic philosophy, there are 6 kinds of philosophy. Each philosophy is professing what is absolute truth. Absolute truth means sarva karana karanam, the cause of all causes. So those who say that atoms are the cause of all creation, what are they called? What philosophy, what system philosophy says that source everything is atom? It's called a Nyaya philosophy. Nyaya philosophy. Yeah. Nyaya means logic, yeah. So Nyaya literally means justice, but here it means logic. By logic and by mental speculation, they come to the conclusion that atom is the source of everything. Even life comes from atom. Everything comes from atom. All creation. The absolute truth is atom. So that's called Nyaya philosophy. So there are 6 systems of philosophy, right? I think we discussed it some time ago. I don't know if you remember, right? Chandra is nodding his head vigorously. Everyone else is a bit unsure. The second system of philosophy is called. So the first is Nyaya, and Nyaya, the philosophy is taught by Gautama. Is the main. There are many teachers, but prominent is Gautama Rishi. The same Gautama Rishi who cursed Ahalya to become a rock. Ramayana, you hear that. So Gautama Rishi is the propounder of the Nyaya philosophy. So they say source is atom. Then the second philosophy is called Sankhya comes later. Third one, Vaisheshika. Vaisheshika is very similar to to Nyaya, except that they say it's combinations of atoms. Vishesha. From Vishesha comes Vaisheshika. Means the combination of atoms. And Kannada Rishi is the prominent propounder of that philosophy. There are many scholars in that area, but Kannada Rishi is considered to be the prominent teacher of that field, where they say combination of atoms, not just one atom, but combinations, and that becomes the cause of the creation. So it's a more specialized version of Nyaya. And the third one, as you rightly said, is Sankhya philosophy. Sankhya taught by Patanjali and other Yoga Sutras they taught. And they're saying that no, it's not atoms. It is life, only comes from life. But life, they say, is only consciousness. Consciousness is the cause of unconscious matter. And an example, every living entity gives birth to offsprings. Birds give birth to birds. Animals give birth to animals. So this is that. Oh, sorry, I'm missing something here. Wait. I'm going on the wrong track. Backtrack. Sankhya philosophy says that matter is a cause of creation. Yes, matter. So from atom you go to matter. You don't come to consciousness yet. Consciousness will come yoga. Yoga is the next one. Yoga talks about consciousness. I beg your pardon. I'm sorry. Yeah. So the third philosophy you said is Sankhya. Sankhya is by counting material elements. The 24 elements are the cause of the creation. Earth, water, fire, air, ether. The 5 working senses, the 5 knowledge acquiring senses, the 5 sense objects, mind, intelligence, false ego, all is put together, package, 24 elements. So this is the cause of this one. That's the third one. The fourth is yoga. Yoga says consciousness is the cause of yoga taught by Patanjali. Sankhya taught by, actually there are 2 Sankhyas. One is taught by Kapila, who is the imposter Kapila. The other is the Kapila, who is son of Devavati. Devavati Kapila taught the Sankhya, which is theistic Sankhya. Whereas the imposter Kapila, Prabhupada calls him imposter. I didn't say that. He taught the atheistic Sankhya philosophy, where everything comes from the material elements. So there is Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Sankhya, Yoga. Yoga says consciousness, that is Patanjali. We talked about that. And the fifth is called Karma Mimamsa philosophy, where it says, no, it's not matter, it's not consciousness. It is karma, action as a cause of reaction, therefore the whole material world is being created. Because there has been action, there's a reaction, and none of these except God. All the six system philosophy, they're all atheistic. None of them except God. Karma Mimamsa, they do accept God as a postman who just delivers the mail. What is the mail? Karma. You do good, he give you good karma. You give bad, he give you bad karma. He has no control. He can't do anything. He is a helpless God. He's just a peon. He's just a delivery man. He delivers the mail. Whatever is to deliver, he can't contribute to the process. He has no control.
Within Sankhya there are two, right?
Sankhya has two, yeah. Theistic and atheistic. The theistic Sankhya is taught by Devoti Kapila, and atheistic Sankhya is taught by the imposter Kapila.
Here we are talking about imposter.
Yes, here it's in this category. Yes, we will come to that later. The theistic Kapila, Devoti Kapila, we'll talk at the end. How Vyasdeva brings out that aspect at the end. So now we're talking only about atheistic Sankhya, because that's what is accepted by the scholars mostly. See, even Vedic scholars are atheists. Don't think that only non-Vedic people are atheistic. Even Vedic people are also atheists. Atheism is common everywhere. The most common religion in the world is atheism. Believe it or not, huh? It's not religion, yeah. Even the religious people are atheistic. That's what we'll find out today. Bhagavatam, especially first canto, second chapter, you read. You see that even those who practice religion, first chapter only it says, Dharma Projitta Kaitavatra, cheating religion. It's all atheistic only. Ultimately, utilizing some higher power to get something for ourselves. It is only to enjoy the material world, nothing else. So most religion is based on enjoying the material world. Therefore, it is also atheistic. It's not based on... Because if you believe in God, believe in the spiritual world, then you would want to get out of this material world. You wouldn't want to enjoy here. So that's also atheistic.
It's a different class of different degree of atheism.
Exactly. So that's all. It's envious of Krishna ultimately. Ultimately, enviousness of Krishna. When you want to enjoy separate from Krishna, if you want to say something in the middle, you can always interrupt. So we come to Karma Mimamsa. The main preacher there, Karma Mimamsa philosophy is Jaimini. And we get a glimpse of Karma Mimamsa philosophy in the 10th canto of Bhagavatam, when Krishna preaches Karma Mimamsa philosophy to Nanda Maharaj to convince him not to worship Indra. Why Indra? Indra can provide rain anyway, that's his job. Why should you feed him? You offer this to Govardhan. All the Annakut you have done is for Govardhan. Govardhan not different from me. So and he does convince. He speaks so convincingly that Nanda Maharaj does get convinced. Though some of the elders in the village they saying, be careful, don't take panga with Indra. don't cross swords with Indra, you get into trouble. He gives rain, and rain is food for us. So you are roti pe laat maar rahe ho, kicking your roti. Be careful here. And then when the rains did come, and the storm did come, and some other clouds did pour rain on Vrindavan, and there was thunder and lightning, and those people went to Nand Baba and said, we told you not to believe a 7-year-old boy. He is not capable of making decisions for the whole village. So the whole village get wiped out because of your son. Not understanding Krishna's position. So in a Karma Mimamsa philosophy, that is also atheistic philosophy. And also it's called Purva Mimamsa. Some people call it as Purva Mimamsa. You find this all in Prabhupada's books actually. It's all scattered everywhere. It's not put in one place like this. Karma Mimamsa philosophy. And the last is called Uttara Mimamsa philosophy. Uttara Mimamsa. Uttara means final. And Uttara Mimamsa philosophy here, this has been taught by Ashtavakra and all others. Shankaracharya is another prominent acharya in that line. And they are also atheistic because they say Brahman Satya, Jagan Mithya. They say Brahman is the source of creation. But they don't accept Parabrahman. Krishna they don't accept. So that's why they are also considered atheistic. Now Vyasadeva, Srila Vyasadeva, in the Vedanta Sutra and in the Srimad Bhagavatam and other Vedic literatures, he has defeated all the 6 philosophies. He has proved all of them as incomplete or bogus, as not representing the absolute truth, because none of them are glorifying or coming to Ishvara Parama Krishna, Sachitananda Vigraha, Anadir Adir Govinda, Sarva Karana Karanam. They don't come to that conclusion. Therefore, they are atheistic philosophy. And therefore, he rejected all of them. He defeated all of them and rejected all of them. And Srimad Bhagavatam, that's where it begins. Dharma Projitta Kaitavatra. These are all 6 kinds of Kaitavatra, 6 kinds of cheating. That can happen. So all these Max Muller and all these big scholars in the West who are considered big, they all are different combination of these 6 philosophies they have only given. Scientists are talking about Nyaya or Vaisheshika, they're saying atom or combination of atoms. So you'll find a different permutation and combination of these 6 systems of philosophy. They are presented as scientific discoveries. Big Bang is also that, comes from matter. So any philosophy you've seen, where Darwin's theory, anything comes from these 6 philosophies only. In other words, you can't think of philosophy that's not in the Vedas. Any philosophy you think of, it has to be in the Vedas in one form or the other. But people feel they discovered something, and they're not discovering anything. It's already there. It's already there in the Vedas. Nothing is discovered. We cannot come with a philosophy that can go beyond these 6 philosophies in terms of atheism. Then we have the theistic philosophy, which, as you pointed out, is by Lord Kapila. Lord Kapila was son of Devavati. And that, Krishna also explains in Gita, that Sankhya, in 2nd chapter also we saw, Sankhya and Bhakti are non-different. So Vyasadeva brings it all to devotion service. That's why Srimad Bhagavatam begins with the Bhakti, devotion. So this chapter is on devotion service. This is why I am bringing up this point. That Bhakti is the topmost. The first 7 verses, I think, Sharmukhi has drawn a diagram, you can see. The first 7 verses are describing the glories of devotion service. So now you understand how glorious devotion service is relative to other philosophies, other systems of philosophy, because this takes you to Bhagavan realization. As Sitaram Prabhu said, Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan realization. So this takes you all the way up to Bhagavan realization. Whereas karma, jnana and yoga, they cannot take you to bhakti. They are not cause of bhakti. So any questions on this?
So just to confirm, whether all the 6 philosophies are there in the Vedas?
Yes, all 6 are in the Vedas. They use the Vedas to establish their philosophy. So for example, Gautama Rishi, he used the Vedas to prove that atoms are source everything. You can quote things out of context and mix things here, pull things there, and everything you can show, everything is matter. So it is possible, no? Yeah, where's the mic? Yeah.
Because all these 6 philosophy came from Vedas, how a common man can determine which philosophies to go about, because it's some for other in different combination it comes, so we don't know how to.
Yeah, that is true. We can't be expected to learn on our own, therefore guru is needed. Now according to our nature we attract a particular type of guru. If our mood is to enjoy the material world, then you get a guru who will teach you how to enjoy the material world. We'll be attracted to that kind of philosophy. See, all these 6 philosophies are different degrees of enviousness of Krishna, ultimately. Atheist means envious of Krishna. They're all different degrees of atheism. So therefore, all these are going to take us away from Krishna. Therefore, the devotees are avoided. They know about these philosophies. It says that if you don't know 6 system philosophy, one should not sit on the Vyasasana. It says like that. But at the same time, we don't need the 6 systems of philosophy to go back to Godhead. We can safely bypass that also. But if you're going to be a spiritual master, guru, then you're supposed to know this, so that you can defeat all opposing arguments. How Vyasadeva defeats them in the course of the Vedic literatures, especially Srimad Bhagavatam defeats all these 6 philosophies. They're all defeated. This thing, especially even Lord Kapila's teachings also, he defeats all these philosophies. And Prabhupada, on a practical level, he defeats these philosophies, because wherever he went, you meet these 6 kinds of philosophies. So in Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also, he defeated these 6 kinds of philosophies. So our acharyas have constantly refuted this. Amadvacharya, Ramanujacharya, they have all defeated the 6 systems of philosophy. They have not spared them. They've given them a good fight and established that is bogus. That's not the ultimate. So the whole idea is to understand what is ultimate, what is absolute truth, what is the cause of all causes, and that you can only know by devotion service. So therefore here we are saying that the cause of all causes is Krishna, Ishvara Parama Krishna. Bhagavan is the cause of all causes. That is the highest understanding of all the Vedas, all the scripture. That's why we saw in the 7th chapter also. Bahunam janmanamante jnanavan mam prapadyate. He surrenders to me only. Krishna says he surrenders to me. So why go around, beat around the bush when you can directly surrender to Krishna and not waste time on these different philosophies and get confused, get contaminated, and lose time, waste time. So understanding Bhagavan is the ultimate realization. Srimali Prabhu had a question, a comment?
Prabhu, these 6 different philosophies, if they are atheistic philosophies, then why would we have them in the Vedas? In the sense that if they were, are they that they lead us to bhakti, then I would assume that they should be there in the Vedas. But if they are atheistic, then should they be there in the Vedas alone?
So I have a similar question. Follow up with that. The Vedas are presented to us by Srila Vyasadeva.
Then why he included this atheistic philosophy?
All right, great minds think alike. This question will ask Sitaram Prabhu.
Well, sorry, I can try, but just well, Vedas are there to accommodate all sorts of interests, because there are so many living entities are there, and they have different motives, different desires, and all. So Vedas are there to guide everyone, and of course, of all that, the ultimate, the topmost one is the bhakti. But in order to come to bhakti, not everyone is on the platform. Everyone is ready to take that. So, but at the same time, the Vedas are so magnanimous and compassionate that so they want to encourage everybody, at least to accept the Vedas and at least do something, So in order to do that, actually they same Bhagwat Gita also it's got actually all these philosophies too. That's why Bhagavad Gita also, when the people, when they read, they just want to take what they like from Bhagavad Gita too. But a devotee knows that the ultimate conclusion of Bhagavad Gita is to become Krishna's devotee. So that's the conclusion of the Bhagavad Gita, to become Krishna's devotee. So and Bhakti is the topmost one. So those who are sincere, they take the process. But at the same time, Bhagavad Gita also has got all the other philosophies too. Similarly, the Vedas also, they got all the information, so that people at least they accept the Vedas and take something from the Vedas and develop some piety on that, and slowly then when they understand all that, and then slowly when they meet a devotee, and then they can accept that, and then they can make one more step towards that, like that, something.
Sure. Yeah. Is that okay? Yeah.
Explain my understanding is, being a father, parent, we don't let our child know only the good things. We also teach him how you have to avoid the bad things.
Mm-hmm.
Like similarly, the Veda teaches both, in order for us to refute any negative arguments if someone poses. That's my understanding. That's the reason for it.
Yes. Very true. Very good point. Chanmukhi?
I don't know in which chapter, but there is that shloka, Shruti Vipratipannati Yada Sthasyasi Nischala Samadhavachala Buddhistada Yogamavapsyasi. So there it says Shruti Vipratipannate Yada Stasyasi Nischala. When your mind becomes Nischala, seeing both this and that, and when your mind gets fixed only on me, that time you are established in yoga. Which shloka, which chapter does that come in? I don't know. Shruti Vipratipannate it starts. Maybe it's in the second chapter, which is the contents of the Gita summarized. So there he's saying, like Sendil Prabhu was telling.
Yeah, just have a look it up.
It's both, everything is there, but your mind should be fixed on the Lord and not on the temporary things. I don't know. I just remembered that shloka.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it's relevant.
Yeah, it is very relevant. Just look in the index. It's in there. I can't remember. Huh? 253? Okay, good. Okay. Very good. Who's got that handy? Yeah, you got that handy? Read the translation.
When your mind is no longer disturbed by the flowery language of the Vedas, and when it remains fixed in the trance of self-realization, then you will have attained the divine consciousness.
Yeah. So what is the point here? The point is?
So the flowery language of the Vedas, it's tempting you to enjoy something other than what Krishna wants you to do.
Correct.
So you should not be tempted by that. It's
So
there.
So the question is asked why it is there in the Vedas in the first place. Why tempt them and then say it is wrong? You give someone candy and say eat the candy but it's bad for you. That's the question.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I took it away from
So I think Siddhartha was given the answer already. He's already mentioned that because Krishna is trying to accommodate everyone. Because you have two options: to follow the Vedas or not follow the Vedas. Okay. Now, what is the destination? Someone is not following the Vedas. What is the destination? Where is he going to end up? In hell. Simple. Because you can't elevate yourself without following the Vedas. So the Vedas are meant to gradually elevate one to the mode of goodness. So yes, they are encouraging material enjoyment because that's what we want. If the Vedas don't give that, we'll go to non-Vedic enjoyment, which is even worse. That will degrade us to hell. So what do you want to do? Somebody who wants to do something, this is how Burijan Prabhu explains. Krishna is trying to accommodate everyone rather than exclude everyone. And say, look boys, this is only devotional service, Bhakti Yoga Club. Everybody else, sorry, bad luck. No membership for you. He's trying to round up everyone. Even the atheists is trying to bring them in. So that at least they come to the mode of goodness, which is springboard for understanding Krishna consciousness. So you see the 7 purpose of ISKCON. One of the purpose of Prabhupada, he says to make the go on. To society at large, to make people aware of the values of life, to check the imbalance of life. That means he wants to be able to come to the mode of goodness only. It's because he knows not everyone will take up Krishna consciousness. Manushanam sahasreshu kashin yatasiti yatapi siddhanam kashin mam vetita. Thousands, only one will be interested. So it is very rare to find a devotee. Naturally, Krishna wants to include everyone and bring them to the mode of goodness. So at least then they will become Krishna conscious. But that path is also not easy. You see what happened to Prajapati Daksha. He was a perfect karmi. He was a very religious man. But what did he do? He offended Lord Shiva. He didn't understand Lord Shiva's position. And look at example Chitraketu, Mother Parvati. She cursed Chitraketu. She didn't understand his position. So we have examples of personalities who are, of course, he is a Vaishnava and she is a Vaishnavi, you can't compare. But even they can get bewildered. And Daksha and his daughter, Sati, she also could not understand Lord Shiva's position. Because she disobeyed him. Of course, she knew his position in one sense, but because she disobeyed his instruction not to go to the father's yajna, she went there against his instruction, and therefore she ended up killing herself. So she also didn't follow his instruction. So being religious, Daksha was religious, very pious, extremely pious man, very, very pious, performed yajnas and sacrifice, but he did not understand Lord Shiva's position, so he did not invite him for the yajna. And then when Sati went against her husband's wish, Daksha insulted her there, her family members insulted her there, so she could not tolerate it, so she ended up killing herself. And when she burnt herself, because she felt this body which is given by my father, who is insulting my husband, who is a great Vaishnava, this body is not worth keeping. And she says, it's just like when you accidentally take poison, what should you do? The best thing to do is to spit it out. Bhagavatam says, should have taken poison, you can't just keep it there and try to digest it. Immediately you should vomit it out. So this body given to me by my father, who is so envious of my husband, who happens to be a great Vaishnava, I should not tolerate this, so I should end my body. So these are the result of not respecting a Vaishnava. So they were all very pious people, but they could not understand the Vaishnava's position, devotee's position. So back to the question, the Krishna is trying to accommodate everyone and help them to come to the mode of goodness, so that they can eventually take up Krishna consciousness. Even though the mode of goodness is also a trap, because one can get stuck on the platform like Daksha did, and eventually understood when he got his head cut off and they put a goat's head on him, and then he begged for forgiveness. That also Lord Shiva had to do. Then he understood Lord Shiva's position somewhat, but it took a very long, difficult journey to come to that point. So we should not think that I will go to the mode of goodness gradually and try to enjoy dharma, artha, kama. When I'm fed up of that, I'll go for moksha. When I'm fed up of that, then I'll come to bhakti. One should not have that plan in mind. Rather, one should take bhakti immediately. That's the purport of the first 7 verses of this chapter. One should take to devotion service directly. Shiva Krishna Prabhu, you had your hand up?
Yeah, just wanted to
And then
explain it this way that
Vedas is the repository of all the knowledges.
Yes.
Now it is up to you how you want to go and take the knowledge. Huh?
Yeah.
ISKCON is giving us a platform wherein we can understand Bhakti Yoga in a proper way, and we should learn how to reach to our goal of back to God.
Taking you to the highest level, yes. Directly, without going through all these steps.
Is it the right way?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. That's nice. Sharmukhi. And then
I just thought of one analogy for how you said everything is there in the Vedas, and even atheism is accommodated in the Vedas. I was thinking of how when children who are brought up to be devotees, when they become teenagers, they try to experiment with the material nature, and they try to go out and attend parties. So I have seen some devotee parents, they say instead of going out and attending parties, you have the party at home only. So not that they are encouraging having parties, but they're saying instead of going out and straying out like that, and who knows with whom you're going to associate, you have it at home only under our vigilance. So like that the Vedas, it's giving atheism also, but then saying no, that's not the way.
Yeah, that's very good point. That's a good analogy. Yeah, no, that's very good. Yeah. So it's not the ultimate goal. One should not think that, because the Veda is not ultimate, but at the same time it should be taken as a stepping stone. Good, very good example. Yes.
Prabhu, there was one saint in Maharashtra whose name was Sant Tukaram. He actually mentioned one thing in his Abhanga. He said, Veda Ananta Bolila, Artha Itukachi Sadila, Vithovasi Sarana Jave, Tijanishta Nama Gave. That means at the end of the Veda, it's like you have to surrender to Lord Vithala, who is Krishna, and that's the ultimate goal you are going to achieve after reading all through all Vedas. So that's the message he gave.
Very good. Thank you for sharing. That's a very nice abhang. Vedaischa sarvera ham eva vedya. Purpose of all the Vedas is to understand Krishna. So why not go to that directly? Okay. Good. So next, who is next in line? Ruchika, text 3. Microphone is over there. Yeah. No, that's okay. We keep it at the back side. Keep it in the back. Balan can manage it maybe.
Yetva aksharam anirdesham avyaktam paryupasate sarvatragam achintyam cha kutastham achalam dhruvam Sanniyam yendriyagramam Sarvatra samabuddhayaha Te prapnuvanti mameva Sarvabhuta hite rataha But those who fully worship the unmanifested, that which lies beyond the perception of the senses, the all-pervading, inconceivable, unchanging, fixed and immovable, the impersonal conception of the absolute truth, by controlling the various senses and being equally disposed to everyone, Such persons engaged in the welfare of all at last achieve me.
So here is saying that impersonal also is a valid realization, but it's very difficult. But eventually they come to me. So does that mean the path of impersonalism can lead one directly to Krishna? Eventually? Are there two parallel lines? Impersonal realization and parallel realization, and both are heading towards Krishna. This is a little bit difficult, but eventually you'll get there. This one is easy. Is that the meaning? No. What do you think, Ravi Prabhu? Where's the microphone?
It has to join somewhere there.
Ah, that's the point. It has to join somewhere. So what does that mean? Give the mic to him. Yeah.
Ultimately, you will realize that Krishna is the ultimate source of everything, and then even though it's impersonal thing, you just have to understand.
One has to come to devotion service. One has to come to devotion service. So there's only one track to Krishna, and that is devotion service. So impersonalism again can be impersonal realization can be a starting point, but eventually one has to come to the devotion service. Without that, one cannot reach Krishna. Very good. Okay.
Just one point.
Yeah.
In the Melbourne temple right now, they are discussing the Chaturshloki Bhagwatam, and Bhakti Prabhu was telling how, pertaining to this shloka, the impersonal and the personal. The impersonal is not the supreme goal, and it's very difficult. But personal is supreme goal, and it's easy. So the intelligent will choose the easy and supreme.
Yes, very good.
Very succinctly put it like
that. Yeah. Bhagavatam also says, right? Yeah? Which verse is that? The 12th canto? That Yajanti Sumeta Saha. Yeah. Yeah. How does it start? Krishna Varanam. Krishnam Sango Pangastra Pashdam. So those are intelligent. Sumedha. We got Sumedha here. Those are intelligent. They take up this process, which is taught by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna consciousness. Okay. Yes, Samriddhi.
Sorry, Babuji, I just had a question in relation to the question that you asked. So the impersonal will also lead to Krishna. There's the shloka in 411, Ye tha mam prapatinte tam stay bhajamiham. In that Krishna says, everyone follows my path in all respect.
In all respects.
In all respect. So how is that connected to this question that you asked?
Yeah, that is true. So eventually one has to come to bhakti, but eventually they're all heading towards bhakti. All other paths, as long as it's a valid path, as long as it's bona fide, it is going to lead us to bhakti. Just like, for example, those who worship demigods. That's all in that section is mentioned there. The demigods will eventually lead them to Krishna. But that's a very indirect process. Krishna says, they all worship me indirectly. They do so but in an indirect way or improper way. Avidhi purvakam. It's not vidhi purvak, it's avidhi purvakam. They're meant for me only. But because of their lusty intelligence, they are driven to worship the demigod for some material gain. Actually, that worship is meant for me only. So they do so in an improper way. So even demigod worship is meant to accept someone as authority, not that I am the authority. Atheists think that I am in control, I am God, or there is no God. Same thing. Whereas here we are accepting somebody as more powerful than us, who we have to approach for some help when we are in difficulty. So at least that sense of being the servant is there. Okay. So we read the next verse, text number 5.
Just one question, this one. Just want to ask regarding again impersonal path and the devotional path.
Yeah.
Can you also say that in the impersonal path we can actually follow things whimsically, whereas in devotional path there has to be a spiritual master, otherwise you can't.
Which one can you follow whimsically?
The impersonal path.
No, it's not. No, that is very strict discipline. That's what we read the next verse. Next verse is exactly going to tell us that. Avyakta hi gatir dukkham, it says. Klesha adhika. It's klesha, very full of klesha, full of trouble. It's not whimsical. Very hard, very tough discipline. The more difficult. Devotional service is easy. Because nothing is whimsical.
When I say what I was saying was that kind of a succession, dislike succession. Like you have to be in a proper line of
Even they have
authority.
proper line. I just described 6 systems of philosophy. They all have a line. Without line, you are clueless, lost, headless chook. Doesn't get anywhere. So then Krishna says to Arjuna, if you act out of false ego, you will be destroyed. Isn't it? If you act out of ahankara, false ego, that's when you're acting out of false ego. Whimsical means acting out of false ego. When you act out of false ego, you'll be destroyed. Ashraddhanasya Purusha, 9.3 Krishna says, right? Read 9.3. Dharmasyasya parantapa. .3, right? Ashraddhana Purusha. Yeah. Can you read that, Amelia? 9.3. 9.3.
Ashraddhanaha Purushaha Dharmasyasya pratantapa
Dasyasya parantapa
Aprapya mam nivartante Mrityu samsara vartmani. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Those who are not faithful in this devotional service cannot attain me, O conqueror of enemies. Therefore, they return to the path of birth and death in this material world.
Yes. Now read the last paragraph of 12.5 purport. Where atheist is mentioned.
In the Nirukti.
Atheist, the word atheist is mentioned. Last paragraph, 12.5 purport.
So there's no difference between.
Is the last paragraph or the one before that? Sorry, I might have mistaken. Where the word atheist is
The
mentioned.
last Prabhu is this is explained here as Yogam Ashwaram.
Where? Correct. That's 12.5 purport, right? Last paragraph. I thought. Yeah.
Where is that? He is different, okay.
Oh, you don't have that, huh? It says here. The last few lines. Yeah. For every living entity, the process of Krishna consciousness, which entails full engagement in devotional service, is the best way. If one wants to ignore this devotional service, there is a danger of turning to atheism. Thus, the process of centering attention on the unmanifest inconceivable, which is beyond the approach of the senses, as already expressed in this verse, should never be encouraged at any time, especially in this age. It is not advised by Krishna.
Sorry, bro, I was still focusing on 9.5. Sorry for that.
Yeah, you are in the previous verse. I'm wondering how come. I'm pretty sure, because for me to flip around pages is easy. The book is easier. I'm trying to find that verse. I'm pretty sure I read that. Okay. So you understand now, right? That there's nothing whimsical. Everything you have to follow. That discipline is more difficult than devotional service. Okay. So next 12.5. Yeah. The mic is coming there.
When I studied pranic healing, they taught us how from just as from the Lord's body, and this is what Prabhupada has taught us, that from the Lord's body the Brahmajyoti is coming. We are made in His image, so we are also His parts and parcels. So some light comes from out of our body also, and that light which comes out of our body also got the 7 colors, Vibgyor, and that has all got all the chakras. And there they talk all about cleansing your chakras, becoming energetically clean, and the meditation is on the void for them. So I was thinking that is an impersonal path.
Yeah.
But actually there is no guru and all that. It's not very structured like Vaishnavism.
That they might have just watered down just to make it appealing to the public. Like they don't even ask you to become vegetarian. They say, oh, you can be not so fanatic. They say all that just to get people to get membership, ultimately. So they're trying to promote something. But energy healing is a process that is valid. It's not that it's invalid. But the point is, if they're all impersonalists at the end of the day, that's what you'll end up becoming. You'll end up becoming, if you think that is the ultimate goal. Just like you go to a doctor and take medicine, but you don't take doctor as a guru. Right? You fall sick, you don't say, I'll just chant the holy name, it will be alright. Yeah, if you have that faith, that's good. But we don't have the faith, we do go to doctors. That doesn't mean we don't depend on Krishna. Krishna is giving intelligence. If you're sick, you go and see a doctor. It makes sense. But still, your faith is in Krishna. That's not compromised. So one may be adopting the impersonal path, and as a result of that, they get some realizations. Like a true Sankhya yogi, if he's bitten by a snake, I mentioned that before, he won't die of snake poisoning. Why? Because he is able to analyze the 24 elements. Snake is made of 24 elements. I am made of 24 elements. The poison is one of the 24 elements. So just 24 elements mixing here from here to there. So there's no, he's so fixed in that realization, he won't die. Because he sees that the poison also has one of the 24 elements. A combination rather of the 24 elements. And therefore he is not affected by poison. And when people look at him, wow, he's so great, he's Superman, he's so strong. Deadly snake is biting him and he's not dying. I would like to learn that siddhi. But even that is not ultimate, but one can get awestruck by these things and think that is ultimate. See, the whole point is to understand what is ultimate. What is the cause of all causes? What is absolute truth means cause of all causes. So it's not Sankhya. Sankhya has got many benefits. But if we get carried away by the benefits, then we'll forget the focus. Krishna is the focus. Okay. Yes, Mataji, you want to read the next verse? Text 5. We already did that last time.
क्लेशोऽधिकतरस्तेषाम् अव्यक्ता सकतचेतसाम् अव्यक्ता हि गतिर्दुःखम् देवादाभिरवाप्यते For those whose minds are attached to the unmanifested, impersonal feature of the Supreme, advancement is very troublesome. To make progress in that discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied.
Embodied, yep. Yes, we discussed this in the last two classes. This is a big purport we had. So in this, Prabhupada explains how that because we are personal, we have individuality, it's very hard for us to focus on the impersonal aspect anyway. Even if you take the path, it's very difficult. Whereas devotion service, where you have service to the personality of Godhead, Krishna is a Param Purusha, Supreme Personality of Godhead, it is easier to manifest, see his manifestation as a deity form, where we can have personal relationship. Just like we have Radha Gopinath in Sydney. So we have an opportunity to establish our personal relationship with Krishna. At every center we have deities, so devotees get attached to the deity form of the Lord, which is a personal form of the Lord, where the Lord accepts service and reciprocates with his devotees. Whereas the impersonal path is very difficult, especially for those who are embodied. First of all, it's very austere, the path is very difficult, and it says, Avyakta hi gatir dukkham. It's a gati, the gati is very difficult. To make progress in that is very difficult. So Krishna is discouraging that. He said eventually that will bring you to the right point, but it's not advisable. And that's why Prabhupada concludes by saying that if you ignore devotional service, you end up becoming an atheist. Which kind of atheist? Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Sankhya. You got a whole lot of them there. You end up becoming one of those. There's no point in taking any of those paths. That's why Vyasadeva and all our Acharyas, Ramanacharya, even Shankaracharya said, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam, Bhaja Mudamate. That is not Uttar Mimamsa. That is pure bhakti. He did not mess around. At the end, he came back to devotion service. And of course, Ramanacharya, Madhvacharya, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, All acharyas have encouraged only devotion service, and Srimad Bhagavatam is completely focused on that. Okay.
I was thinking at this point we are seeing how Krishna is saying that bhakti is more is supreme and not the impersonal thing. And even those who are attracted towards the impersonal form of the Lord, how they also come to bhakti, the four Kumaras.
Yes.
I was just reminded of that shloka from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Tasyaravinda nayanasya padaravinda kinjalka mishra tulasi makaranda vayuhu antargataha svavivarena chakaratesham sankshobham aksharajushamaphi chittatanvoho. Is saying that the Lord's tasya aravinda nayanasya, that beautiful lotus-eyed Lord, padaravinda, the lotus feet, kinjalka mishra tulasi, the tulasi which was offered to his lotus feet, they smelt that makaranda vayu, that makaranda, that's so fragrant. You can just imagine how fragrant. If we just enter the temple, you feel, oh my God, it's so fragrant. It's so nice. Even as you are coming closer to the temple room, you smell that fragrance and you feel, it's so nice. So how it must have been when the four Kumaras smelt the tulsi coming from the Lord's lotus feet. And he is explaining what happened. Antargataha, it went inside through their nostrils, and what did it do? Sankshobham, it caused a kind of revolution inside their body, and those who were aksharajusham, who were attached to the impersonal form of the Lord, even though they were attached to the impersonal form of the Lord, chitta tanvoho, in their chitta, in their consciousness, and tanu, in their body, it caused such a revolution that they got attracted to the personal form of the Lord.
Very nice, beautiful, nice verse. Very, very much relevant to this. Yeah, good. Thank you.
Bhagavatam is full of beautiful shlokas.
Yeah, that's why in the Bhagavatam, Vyasdeva has refuted all his philosophies. If you study Bhagavatam, you see that all atheistic philosophies are destroyed. Yeah.
Just one more thing. I was thinking there are so many families who are going through so many difficulties, and whenever we chant the Mahamantra or even the expansions of the Mahamantra, which are all shlokas from the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, the Lord pours His blessings on that place. So let us all dedicate the blessings which are coming down from the Lord to those families who are going through difficulties. We don't need to know who they are. We know who, some of us know who they are. So let us dedicate that to them.
Very good.
For them to get better. This is our small offering to them.
Sure, thank you. No worries. So, text, you want to say something?
No. I mean, as we mentioned before, that as Krishna is very magnanimously, very mercifully is giving the direction, but again is giving a choice also for us that okay, already I can do that one also, but if we do take that, it's a long process and a troublesome process too.
Yep. Point. So you want to do 6 and 7?
Me.
We haven't read the purport of this one, we're just starting.
Okay, text 6 and 7. Etu sarvani karmani mai sanyasya matparaha ananyena eva yogena mam dhyayanti upasate teshamaham samudharta mrityu samsara sagara bhavami nachirat pardha maya veshita chetasam. Translation. But those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service and always meditating upon me, having fixed their minds upon me, O son of Pritha, for them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death.
Do you need the pub? Just read a few paragraphs and you can speak a little bit on that.
Okay. It is explicitly stated here that the devotees are very fortunate to be delivered very soon from the material existence of the Lord. In pure devotional service, one comes to the realization that God is great and the individual soul is subordinate to Him. His duty is to render service to the Lord, and if he does not, then he will render service to Maya. As stated before, the Supreme Lord can be approached only by devotional service. Therefore, one should be fully devoted. One should fix his mind fully on Krishna in order to achieve Him. One should work only for Krishna. It does not matter in what kind of work one engages, but that work should be done only for Krishna. That is the standard of devotional service. The devotee does not desire any achievement other than pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. His life's mission is to please Krishna, and he can sacrifice everything for Krishna's satisfaction, just as Arjuna did in the battle of Kurukshetra. The process is very simple. One can devote himself in his occupation and engage at the same time in chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Such transcendental chanting attracts the devotee of the Personality of Godhead. Shall I leave there?
Yeah.
Continue, Prabhupada?
Yeah, I can speak on. If you want to read the next paragraph, you can speak.
Okay.
Maybe next paragraph is connected.
The Supreme Lord herein promises that without delay He will deliver a pure devotee, thus engaged from the ocean of material existence. Those who are advanced in yoga practice can willfully transfer the soul to whatever planet they like by the yoga process, and others take the opportunity in various ways. But as far as the devotee is concerned, it is clearly stated here that the Lord Himself takes him. The devotee does not need to wait to become very experienced in order to transfer himself to the spiritual sky. In the Varaha Purana, this verse appears. Okay. The purport of this verse is that the devotee does not need to practice Ashtanga Yoga in order to transfer his soul to the spiritual planets. The responsibility is taken by the Supreme Lord Himself. He clearly states here that He Himself becomes the deliverer. A child is completely cared for by his parents, and thus his position is secure. Similarly, the devotee does not need to endeavor to transfer himself by yoga practice to other planets. Rather, the Supreme Lord, by His great mercy, comes at once riding on His bird carrier Garuda, and at once delivers the devotee from material existence. Although a man who has fallen in the ocean may struggle very hard and may be very expert in swimming, he cannot save himself. But if someone comes and picks him up from the water, then he is easily rescued. Similarly, the Lord picks up the devotee from this material existence. One simply has to practice the easy process of Krishna consciousness and fully engage himself in devotional service. Any intelligent man should always prefer the process of devotional service to all other processes. Okay. in the okay, Prabhupada is confirming the same point again here. In the Narayaniya, this is confirmed as follows. The purport of this verse is that one should not engage in the different processes of fruitive activity or cultivate knowledge by the mental speculative process. One who is devoted to the Supreme Personality can attain all the benefits derived from other yogic processes, speculation, rituals, sacrifices, charities, etc. That is the specific benediction of devotional service. Simply by chanting the holy name of Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, a devotee of the Lord can approach the supreme destination easily and happily. But this destination cannot be approached by any other process of religion. So the conclusion of Bhagwat Gita is stated in the 18th chapter. Sarvadharman parityajya mameka sharanam vraja aham tam sarvapapabhyo mokshaya masachaha. One should give up all other processes of self-realization and simply execute devotional service in Krishna consciousness. That will enable one to reach the highest perfection of life. There is no need for one to consider the sinful actions of his past life, because Supreme Lord fully takes charge of him. Therefore, one should not futilely try to deliver himself in a spiritual realization. Let everyone take shelter of the Supreme Omnipotent Godhead, Krishna, that is the highest perfection of life. So Srila Prabhupada very nicely says that, like one may be very expert swimmer, and one can maybe he knows all the tricks of swimming, but to swim across the Indian Ocean is very difficult. Atlantic Ocean is very difficult on his own. But on the other hand, if someone comes and gives him a lift, picks him up and puts him on his boat, and he can easily cross over that. So similarly, to cross over this ocean of Bhavasagara, birth and death, material ocean, it's very difficult for us to, however hard we may try. But on the other hand, if the Lord Himself comes and gives us, picks us up from this ocean of birth and death, then it becomes easy. That's what Krishna is promising here. I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. So Srila Prabhupada is confirming the point that this, by taking the part in devotional service, that's what the Lord, one gets the special mercy of the Lord, and then Lord takes full charge of his devotee. And there are so many examples actually in the Bhagavatam and the scriptures, that we know the example of, we just celebrate the Narsimha Chaturdashi, right? Prahlad Maharaj, he was always devoted, he was always chanting the holy names of the Lord. So because he was so absorbed in the Lord, so he could see everything as the mercy of the Lord. So when he was given the poison also, he offered that to the Lord, and that became prasad. So when he took that prasad, nothing happened to him. So like that actually, you can see the Lord actually delivered his devotee. There's so many examples like that. So this is a very good impetus for us to take full shelter of Supreme Lord. So, and amazingly, Srila Prabhupada's purports are so amazing that if we read one purport, we can get what the whole essence of what Krishna is trying to say in Bhagavad Gita. Because we may not be able to read the whole, sometimes the whole thing. But if we just simply read one, so Prabhupada says the point to become his devotee. I say it's so potent and so powerful, the Prabhupada Bhagavad Gita. He gives the whole essence actually in just one word, one purport. So it's very nice to read Srila Prabhupada's purports too.
Thank you.
was talking about the Bhavasagara and the boat. If someone brings a boat, there is that shloka in the Srimad Bhagwatam. Samashritaye padapallavaplavam mahatpadam punya yasho murare bhavambudirvatsa padam param padam 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 yat vipadam natesham. Here they are saying how if you catch on to the lotus feet of the Lord, that is the lotus feet of the Lord is the boat. Padapallava plavam. Plavam means boat. Padapallava, his lotus feet are the boat. If you cling on to that, this Bhavasagara, which is very insurmountable to cross, like Prabhu was saying, even if you are the best swimmer, you can't swim. But that Bhavasagara will be reduced to the water held in the hoof of a calf, of a baby, of a calf. That was one point. And another point, like Prabhu was saying, how if you read Srila Prabhupada's purport, it's so comprehensive, he's got everything in that. I used to ask Prabhu, because I like Guruvayurappan in Kerala, and Mataji, Manmohini Mataji had told me about Narayana Bhattathiri and how he wrote the Narayaniyam, and how I wanted to read that because in that Narayana Bhattathiri he cures himself of paralysis. So I thought if I could read some of that for my Guru Maharaj or something. And Prabhu said the Narayaniyam is mentioned by Srila Prabhupada, and I was thinking where it's there in this purport, the Narayaniyam.
Yeah. Actually, one devotee became devotee. He was saying that. Oh, Narayana mentioned, I'll become devotee. This path is bona fide. Yeah. And the other point that's being made, he made here is that the devotee is in a very fortunate position. That the Lord personally comes to, he promises that I will personally come to deliver my devotee. And this was debated by Akbar and Birbal. You know the story, right? Akbar and Birbal, this is a debate. Akbar is saying why Allah will come personally to deliver his devotees. He'll send somebody, he has got so many agents. And Birbal said, no, he'll come personally for his devotee. And they had that. So then Akbar said, proof. Show me some sabut. What is the proof of this? And then I think you all know the story, right? Birbal asks the ministers to make a doll of the baby of the prince, and then he drops in the water, and the king thinks that his baby is drowning, so he jumps into the water. Then he comes out and realizes it's only a doll. He says, what is this, Birbal? You're making fun of me, or what? Why do you make me jump in the water with my royal dress on? I just want to make the point that why did you have to jump? There are so many soldiers, guards, we are all standing there. Why didn't you ask one of us to jump and rescue your son? But you jumped yourself without considering what difficulty you're going to be in. So similarly, the Lord also comes to deliver his devotees. He doesn't do that. There's also the story of the Acharya, right? I forgot his name. I have different names. Bhujan one said Arjuna Acharya, then he said not Arjuna Acharya, but one Acharya who was writing this verse personally delivers them, you know. And he cut it out. Sorry? Okay, I'll finish this, it's alright? And he cut out that he personally delivers the devotee. Instead, no, he arranges or something, he changed the wording, isn't it? Huh? Yeah.
Yes, one. What's again? Yogaksham Annachintantamam Yogakshamam Vahamiham. That Vahamiham, he says, no, can't be. He can't do that. I mean, he'll get it done in a way. Say Karamyaham. He just changed to Karamyaham. He'll get it done. Then I think some of you know the story. Like, then he went to take bath, and then these two boys came carrying all the load, you know. And then the wife asked me, what happened? Well, it's all because of your husband. I said, my wife? Yeah, we have your servants, your husband. And said, my husband didn't have any servants. I said, no, he asked us to carry all that, and you just take this one. I said, no, wait. I said, no, we got to go now, otherwise your husband will chastise us, you know. Then when he came back and I said, what happened? Then she get on his case. No, why did you do that to them? I said, no, what do you mean? What are you talking about? No, but all the boys to carry all this boga down, and then you were beating them, said no, and then marks on the back, Then when he came, and then when he realized actually about, then he again. Then what did he do? Correct it again?
Yeah. Then he found that the thing had been, after he apologized to the boys, he actually goes there and looks for the boys and apologizes. So when he does that, those cut marks were gone. And the original wording came back. Automatically, next day he found that it was back to where it should be. Yogakshema Mahamyam.
Yeah.
Ananyas Chintayantamam Ye Jana Pariyupasade. Yogakshema Mahamyam. And it's Yogakshema is borrowed by LIC without copywriting. Yogakshema.
They put life and comfort.
Yeah.
Okay.
LIC, yeah. So here the Lord is making the promise to his devotee that you follow the simple process. Prabhupada has made very simple for us. Just chant Hare Krishna. Then you don't need to know 6 systems of philosophy. You don't need to know anything. One can take to devotion service directly. And the process is very simple. And that is a sign of intelligence. Prabhupada says it's a sign of intelligence. Because an intelligent person doesn't go by the long process. Takes the easy path. Easy and secure. And he has a specific benediction of Krishna that's mentioned in the Narayaniam. What is the Narayaniam benediction it gives? It says that no need to perform fruitive activities or mental speculation. No need karma or gyan. Narayaniam says we don't need karma or gyan, and that it can attain all benefits of yoga just by devotion service. This is mentioned in the 8th chapter, last verse also. 8:28 if you read. Krishna already mentions that. If you turn to that. Shiv Krishna Prabhu, can you read that? 8:28, last verse of chapter 8.
This verse, right?
Yes, please read that.
Mayeva mana adhastvam.
Mayeva mana adhastvam.
Mayi buddhi.
Vedeshu. 8 chapter. 8, yeah.
Vedeshu yatneshu tapasu chaiva.
Vedeshu yajneshu tapasu chaiva.
Daneshu yat punyaphalam pradishtam.
Daneshu yat punyaphalam pradishtam.
Atyeti tat sarvamidam viditva.
Atyeti tat sarvamidam viditva.
Yogim param sthanupumaiti chadyam.
Yogim param sthanupumaiti chadyam.
Translation by His Divine Grace. A person who accepts the path of devotional service is not bereft of the results derived from studying the Vedas, performing sacrifices, undergoing austerities, giving charity, or pursuing philosophical and fruitive activities. Simply by performing devotional service, he attains all these, and at the end he reaches the supreme eternal abode.
Correct? Is that the same thing? Krishna is already saying that, right? That if we perform devotion service, you don't have to perform any other process. Everything is already included in devotion service, but what's extra in the devotion service? What's the extra? Attain a supreme abode, correct? So why go for any other process? Why go for any other path? Yeah, Prabhu, you want to say something, Ravish?
Prabhu, in the previous example, you are quoting Akbar and Birbal conversation as how Akbar went and rescues his child, even though not really a child. Whereas the Lord coming and rescuing, say, for example, Gajendra.
Sure.
But I mean, we are actually comparing, I don't know if I can say this, a conditioned soul like Akbar and the Lord. I mean, Lord has got that intelligence. He can always send his agents, right?
Correct.
Maybe because Akbar is maybe so attached to his child or out of anxiety, maybe because he hasn't got that intelligence, he probably dived into the swimming pool himself. But whereas the Lord, he has got that intelligence.
Here
He is full in everything.
Yeah, here is being described the love, the mood of Akbar for his child is comparable to the Lord's love for his devotee. Something that we can relate to. Akbar is, of course, is a conditioned soul. But even a conditioned soul has attachment to his children. So which is where is it coming from? This is coming from the attachment Krishna has for his devotees who are like his children. So the mood is what Birbal was trying to show us, the mood of the Lord. Yeah, it cannot the same quantity, but certainly we can experience. See, everything in the spiritual realm we have to understand in terms of material world, because that's what we are used to. So he says, just as the father attached to the child, similarly the Lord is attached to his devotee. So if Akbar could also send his agents, he went personally. It's not because of ignorance, it's because of love there. See, any analogy you take, you have to see what is the main point in the analogy. The main point here is love, not that Akbar was illusioned by the doll. That's not the main point of the purport. The story was there to show how much Akbar loved his child over and above everything else. Not that he didn't understand as a doll, that was stupid. No, that is not the point. So analogy has to be taken in context, otherwise you end up with a totally different meaning. Analogy have limitations because they only emphasize one aspect of the story. Here the love of Akbar, the love of the Lord, that is being emphasized. That's why Vaishnava Acharya has given another example. For a devotee, he has to do nothing means they give example of the cat, mouse and kitten. Right? And the cat carries the kitten doesn't have to do anything. Just sits in the mouth of the mother and the mother carries her along. Wherever she goes, she takes her baby with her. She doesn't have to worry where she's going, what should I do. There's nothing required to be done. The Lord does everything. Once he takes it. Some philosophy believe like that. There's some Vaishnavas also say, no, it's like the monkey baby holding on to the monkey. The baby still has to hold on. The mother will take you around, but baby has to hold on. Something you have to do, not just relax, and everything will be done for you. So two different philosophies. Both are Vaishnava philosophies. Both are taught by Vaishnavas. One says you have nothing to do, other says no, you do your part, and Krishna will do his part. As you surrender, so I reciprocate. So whichever philosophy one follows, that's up to the individual, but still both are Vaishnavas, that the Lord is the one who is delivering the conditioned soul. That's the point here. So in conclusion, Prabhupada brings out the purport that simply by surrendering to Krishna, one can attain perfection, one can go back to Godhead. And that surrendering process, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has made very easy by chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. So this process of chanting has got everything in it. There's nothing lacking. Just as process of devotion service, everything is included in that. One can easily cross over this ocean of material existence. Some Bhagavad Gitas had that picture also. They're showing a man swimming in the Garuda. The Lord comes on Garuda and picks up that devotee. Yes, some of the books have got that picture. I don't know. There's very nice illustration on that verse. Yeah, some editions of Bhagavad Gita had that. I'm looking for that. If you look up in Google Images, you'll find it. So here, to summarize this verse, that the process of devotion service is pure, is simple, and is taken up by those who are intelligent. And Krishna promises that he will deliver that devotee from this material world. And the process of devotion service Prabhupada has given us is chanting of the Mahamantra. And what are the two analogies used here? Prabhupada quotes two analogies. What are they? A swimmer trying to swim across the ocean. That's right. He's picked up by the Lord. Then it's easy to cross the ocean. Other is the child taken care by the parents. Right? Then there's nothing to fear. And so related to that, we discussed also the monkey and the baby and cat and the kitten. Whereas for the mouse, the cat represents death. But for the kitten, it is safety and security. So the Lord promises here. Just like Sitaram Prabhu quoted that verse, Ananantintyantamam yajana paripasate. He says, I preserve what you have and carry what you lack. So even if something is lacking in us, Krishna will compensate for that. So this much has made it easy. So we should not lose faith in the process. And not losing faith in the process means that one should not be subject to lamentation. If we are lamenting in our life, that means we don't have faith in the process yet. Faith is not strong, rather. It's there, but it's not strong. So one should not take to lamentation. Why would one take to lamentation? When does one take to lamentation? I'm doing the practical application of this verse. If you read this verse, we should not have lamentation. Why do we take to lamentation? Due to lack of faith, isn't it? True? Do we all agree with that? So what can we do to increase our faith and make it strong so that we never lament? Chanting nicely, very good. Then?
Associate with devotees.
Yeah. Association with devotees who have strong faith. And Sitaram Prabhu lifelong has dedicated himself to Krishna consciousness.
Here pastimes of Lord.
Yeah, the pastimes of the Lord. So this was reassuring us. The Lord is reassuring us. I am there for you. I preserve what you have and carry what you lack. So in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement, the only qualification is one should feel one is unqualified. That is the only qualification. The moment you think you are qualified, you become disqualified. And that's what you should watch out for. As we notice that as devotees make progress in devotional service, they start getting knowledge. Then they start thinking, oh, I've heard this story before. I know this pastime already. I know that shloka already. Nothing new I learned today. This is where the mundane intelligence takes over. Because the same pastime, the same story, the same shloka, you read another time with sincerity. Krishna gives such deep realizations on that. One should not have mundane intelligence, thinking, I've heard this before, I don't need to hear it. That's all same thing. Why don't you finish the chapter quickly? Sometimes, this is mundane thinking. But from a teacher's point of view, you should think, no, I should give more knowledge to students and deeper understanding, deeper realizations, so we can all become deep in our bhakti. From a teacher point of view, teacher should do that side. But the student point of view should not think, I've heard the story before, I don't need to hear it, and I can switch off and think of something else. That is the wrong mood. No? I know this shloka, I've already learned this by heart, I don't need to listen to this one. So that is a familiarity breeds contempt. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement, if you feel you are very qualified, I already know something, then you have a problem. When you feel unqualified, I want to learn, then Mahaprabhu gives mercy. Then he says, Yoga Kshemam Mahamyam. Then I preserve what you have and carry what you lack. If something is lacking, I will compensate for that. Don't worry. Don't be in anxiety. So therefore, for a devotee, to engage in devotional service is a privilege. To get some service is a privilege, not a chore, it's not a burden. As much as we can do, we should grab it, because we don't know what will happen tomorrow. If today I got a chance to do service, let me do maximum service. To our capacity. Even if we go beyond capacity, so what? Nothing wrong. At the most, we'll lose the body, that's all. So it's not the end of the world. But we should try according to one's means. One should not, I'm not trying to encourage people to be crazy. But at the same time, one should not remain in the comfort zone. If you remain in the comfort zone, the mercy is very slow. You get mercy, but very slow. But when you go beyond the comfort zone, and for the Lord you prepare to do anything, that's when Krishna reciprocates in a very special way. And we can experience that every day. And that experience is what increases our faith. When the Lord reciprocates with us, and you can feel the reciprocation. Yes, Krishna is reciprocating with me. I've been through such a tough time, and Krishna was there for me. That increases our faith. Now, why am I in anxiety now? I shouldn't be in anxiety. My only anxiety should be am I able to serve Him nicely? Like you said, am I able to chant nicely? Am I able to serve in the proper consciousness? Hear in the proper consciousness? Speak in the proper consciousness? If I'm speaking to the idea of showing off my knowledge, that defeats everything. If I'm singing with the idea, oh, my beautiful voice, that defeats then bhakti is gone. The moment we think like that, the bhakti is gone. Or even I chant a shloka so nicely, oh, I'm such a good chanter. Look at it, no mistake. Every syllable is perfect. Immediately the bhakti is gone. One time I was hearing Radhanath Maharaj lecture, he was saying that it is nice when devotees go to Mangalarti. It's very wonderful that devotees are getting up in the morning, they go to Mangalarti. It's very nice. But if the person going to Mangala thinks, oh, this one is not going, he is fallen, then all his benefit of Mangala is gone. Better to one who didn't go. In a better position. Not that one should not go, but I'm just trying to say that we can spoil it all. So that's why devotional service becomes very tricky as we make progress in devotional service, as we come more and more, as time passes by, become senior devotee. It is very difficult to overcome these difficulties, these obstacles. That's why you see over the years devotees give up devotional service rather than take it stronger and stronger. But we have Sitaram Prabhu here, is going from strength to strength. Fully dedicated. He's very highly qualified, postgraduate. Prabhu, please, I'm not trying to glorify, I'm just trying to say how much conviction he had. He gave up, he could have got a wonderful job, he could have taken up a career, he could have got married, he could have had so many things he could have done. But he gave up all of that strong faith he had. He has in Guru, and still has not given up, never deviated for 1 minute. 24, 25 years. That is something we have to see. This is faith. So maybe you can tell us what is the secret to.
I can't say like I had a very strong faith, but somehow by the mercy of the devotees and the Guru and Krishna, they allowed me to just hang in there. That's all I can say. I'm just hanging in there, and somehow trying to continue. I'm not doing anything, any great service, but simply somehow just staying for my own benefit, actually not for others' benefit. So, selfish. Somewhere, even though actually, I do commit so many offenses, but still, so the devotees tolerate me, and the Lord is somehow allowing me to just stay. So please bless me so I can stay for a few more years in this life,
It's so humble. making it sound very easy.
Krishna,
yeah.
My Guru Maharaj says that anyway we are coming after every birth here on this material world. What's wrong in giving one life to Krishna consciousness?
Yes.
There is no loss.
Yeah.
You may gain something.
True. Prabhupada said that to a few devotees. Jagatrini Mataji quotes that actually. She says, Prabhupada said to her, you've given so many lifetimes for Maya. Why not just give one life to Krishna and see what happens? Nothing to lose. Next life you can go back to Maya if you want. Because mentioned here, if you don't serve Krishna, you have to serve Maya, right? Prabhupada says in the purport.
He said that for Bhakti Maharaj himself.
Also? To him also. Yeah, I think he said to few devotees actually. Yeah, Jagatini Mataji also said that. Yeah, that's true. He mentions that as well. So why not give one life for Krishna and see what happens? If nothing happens, then you just go back to Maya again. So you can go back to enjoying. One life you give for Krishna. Yeah, that's right. And actually for devotees, even devotion service is relishable. I don't see why it should be done. If it's done in the right consciousness, it's actually very blissful. Isn't it true?
Krishna says in Bhagwat Gita, there is supposed to be Susukam Kartu Mayo Abhyayam, Of course, it is devotional service. It is joyfully performed, but of course sometimes I can tell myself we don't feel that way. But it's not that it is because we don't feel it, and devotional service is not joyful. And you can see so many many devotees actually they perform it so happily, and taking all risks and trials and troubles. So, but sometimes we don't feel because we don't quite because of our own not clear understanding of the process, lack of knowledge, lack of as you were saying, conviction and faith. But otherwise, devotional service is joyfully performed, and we can see in the Shastra also there are so many examples. They perform devotional service. So by hearing the Shastra and hearing from the devotees, so we can increase our faith more and more, and strengthen our conviction more and more about the process. Then we can also relish that mood of performing it joyfully and pleasurably.
Do you want to say something?
as you were mentioning, Prabhu, like if we keep hearing again and again, some may think that I already know this. I heard from a lecture like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to listen Prahlad Maharaj stories and Guru Maharaj stories. He asked them to repeat 100 times, 1,000 times, again and again. It doesn't mean that Chaitanya Prabhu is not listening or he knows, he is Lord himself, he knows everything.
Yeah, he don't know the first time.
But whereas like I personally, like, I think, oh, I already heard it. Why can't they say something else? Like that, I was in that mood. But as I heard this lecture, then I said, oh, though I heard it, I won't remember it. But still, I feel, I heard it somewhere. Then I feel like, oh, why can't they say something else? So that really struck me. And then, I feel like somebody hit on my head, and then now you have to correct yourself.
And they said that to Prabhupada also. That's why in a press conference, he would always say, not the body. What's your message? Not the body. So one time he said, I'm not a donkey. And the reporter said, why? It's the same message. You want something different. So I have to tell in a different way so you can appreciate something new. Something new is coming. So this is the disease of the mind. The mind wants entertainment. So that's not a service mode of entertainment. I'm here, entertain me. That world is for my enjoyment. Okay?
Radha Govind Maharaj, once he was asked by one organization to give a lecture, and it seems one of the organizers behind the stage, he called Maharaj and he said, Maharaj, थोड़े से नुस्खे और जोक ये सब बता के उस हमको हंसाइए. So Maharaj was saying, I was thinking, have I been called there to speak about the Lord or entertain them by making them laugh? So, and one more point I was thinking, like when you said singing or telling the shlokas and all that, sometimes if I get some shloka in my mind, it might be pertinent to what was being spoken, then I think, oh Krishna, maybe I am trying to show off, better I not speak, better I not tell. So then I analyzed, no, if it is relevant and if it is going to make it more nectarian, tell it, but beg the Lord, let me not become proud. Whatever, if I sing or chant or recite or whatever, it comes from you only. So let me have that motivation and not the motivation to show off. Show off versus sharing. It should be a motivation to share, not to show off.
Very good. Thank you.
Very thin line.
Yes, it is. That's why we have to be very careful. Always be careful. Never become careless and think I made it now. I'm fine now. Yeah, it's always to be watchful. All right. Anything else, Srimani Prabhu? My last comment before we.
Just 2 points, 2 questions, Prabhuji. We discussed the monkey and the cat and the kitten. So, that within the Vaishnava philosophy, which one are we under in Prabhuji?
Yeah. Prabhupada mentions that the Vallabha Sampradaya, Vallabhacharya Sampradaya, their Sampradaya, they follow the cat and kitten philosophy. We don't have to do anything. They're called Pushti Marg. Just take prasad, you'll be happy, you'll go back to Godhead. Eat your way back to Godhead. That's their philosophy. But our philosophy is preaching is the essence. Books are the basis. So we have to. We are a missionary movement. So we don't take that approach. Rather, our acharyas, especially Prabhupada and our Puru Parampara, they are into Paropukar, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Paropukar, helping others. So we have that mood from our acharyas. Therefore, we want to help and be helped also. But we have to do our part. We should not just take it easy. But the Pushti Marg especially is one example where they say, no, don't worry about it. Just enjoy yourself in the devotional service only, not anything sinful. They are also on the same path. But just relax and take it easy. The Lord will take you back. And Prabhupada used that to get people into Krishna consciousness. Once they joined, they said, okay, now you take some responsibility. So that responsibility has anxiety, a lot of anxiety. But that anxiety is a burden of love, Prabhupada said. You take it, because if you take that anxiety on behalf of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then you get special mercy. So that's why Sitaram Prabhu is co-president of Perth Temple. So big responsibility. They're trying to also build a new temple there. So there's a lot of responsibility running the existing temple and taking care of the whole community. A lot of anxiety will come with that, no doubt. But that anxiety brings us closer to Krishna rather than destroy us. Whereas the anxiety for material world, material enjoyment, it destroys us. That's where all the diseases will come. A devotee may also get a disease, but he is going back to Krishna. So what does it matter? Ease or disease is going back.
Thank you, Prabhu. Just another question. I was asked this question, so we've discussed this in the past, but I kind of just want to get a clearer understanding. Are the devatas are they able to go back to Godhead directly, or do they have to come back to the human form before they go back?
I think Sitamu.
You mean once they become a devata and then they can go back to the spiritual world? Well, devatas are there all the posts. When one develops a particular certain kind of a credit sukriti, then given that post. Whether while they're there, they enjoy, and then of course when they get the mercy of the Supreme Lord, where they can really, they can. It's not impossible, I gotta say. I don't know. It's maybe possible, but quite often I think what I heard is that because it's so much opulence over there, you try to enjoy there, and then as a result of that, actually, then you may come back again here, But at the same time, if one is get a special mercy of the Lord, then they can go back to. But unless the person develops a bhakti, unalloyed devotion to Supreme Lord, then only Krishna says in Bhagwat Gita, they are only eligible to go back to the spiritual world. But the devatas, I don't know, maybe we can comment whether they have to develop that unalloyed devotion to Supreme Lord, whether that's possible there. Or normally it's not possible there, but in a special cases may be possible too. I'm not sure exactly. And what's your comment on that?
Yes, Vidyamataji.
The analogy, like if you consider the building, like you have got 7 floors on the top and 6 floors on the bottom. I mean, 6 on the top, 7 on the bottom. And if you want to come out of this building, you have to come to the ground level. So similarly, like in wherever lokas you are, the earth is the exit point for everything. That's what you gave an analogy.
Yes, I remember that. In the retreat he did that. Yeah, that's very true. So that's very true. Actually, it is said that Lord Brahma has a chance to go back directly. Brahma is already in Brahmaloka, has come to the highest level. He has an opportunity to go back directly. But other devas, they have to come back to the earth planet and come. But even then, Prabhupada also mentions, as you rightly said, that one has to take birth on this earth planet in Vrindavan and serve Krishna as Brajbasi, and then make it perfect and go back to Godhead. One doesn't directly enter into the pastimes of the Lord from the higher planets. So, as Prabhu said, it is very difficult to go from there directly because one has so much material enjoyment and one gets caught up in that. But even if one manages to stay clear of that, still one has to come back to the earthly planet to participate in the Lord's pastimes on earth. And then one gets to go back to Godhead.
Prabhu, can we also, thank you Prabhu, can we also understand it this way that because they have such a big balance of all good karmas, that it has to come back to karmas, and then only they go back. So anyone can go back to Godhead only.
Yeah, that's why they've gone there on the credit. They have credit of good karma, punya. They go to the heavenly planets until it's exhausted, and that Krishna says in the Gita also. And when it's exhausted, they come back again. That's if they don't take to devotion service. If they take in devotion service, it's a different path again. Then they come back to Vrindavan and then go back. Otherwise, they come back to the material world and suffer the balance of the karma. Because the karma is 2 types, right? Enjoyment and the suffering. So the Yamaraji asked him, you want the enjoyment first or you want the suffering first? Which one do you want to clear first? Which account? So the living entity gets a choice. So if he says, no, let me enjoy first, okay, he goes there, enjoys, comes back here, then he goes for suffering down below. So unless one takes to devotion service, that can change everything. That's why Krishna is saying, aham tam sarva papebhyo. Punya and pap both will be destroyed. So mamekam sharanam raja, when you surrender to Krishna. So the surrendering process got both. Alright?
That's just one comment. Srila Prabhupada, I think I heard actually, the demigods, they're queuing up to take birth in this time, to take part in the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Sankirtan movement, because this Sankirtan movement is the special golden nights who takes part in this one, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can really give us the topmost, the prema bhakti to the devotees. So the demigods are lining up to take birth on that planet now. So special opportunity now.
Good point, yeah. So we've got special sale on.
Sale, special.
Yeah. Alright. General. There's a microphone, and there it's got one. Yeah.
I've heard slightly differently on that point, because in general it's very difficult for demigods to go back to Godhead directly, because there's so much opportunity for enjoyment in the heavenly planets. But I've heard a couple of senior devotees say that while in general it's difficult, it's not impossible. And that's the reason that there are also very advanced sages and devotees even in the heavenly planets, like Narada Muni, many of the great sages. So even if somebody is inclined to take up devotional service in the heavenly planets, the Lord has made arrangements even for them to approach spiritual masters in the heavenly planets, become perfect there,
that's right,
and go to...
I mean, no one is exempted from going back to Godhead. Krishna can't say, on heavenly planets you're out. No. Everyone has got an opportunity to do that. But in practical terms, it's very difficult. That's why Bhakti Maharaj gives example of the exit point is Earth planet.
In general.
Generally, that's the common thing, yeah. Those are very exceptional cases. Narada Muni actually is not resident in heavenly planets.
Narada Muni is an exception, but it's mentioned in the Bhagwatam. There are many great sages
great sages. That is true. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Krishna does not rule out anyone. Though for a practical, though Prabhupada did also comment that some of my disciples have got so many material desire of enjoyment, they'll first go to the heavenly planet, satisfy the desire, then go back to
That was my next point as well.
Yeah, that's right.
So
he did say like that. But that's not common.
Right.
That's uncommon. What we are talking about here is a common and general. More prevalent is what Bhakti Maharaj gives example. That's more of relevant, you know.
Right.
Whereas what you're saying is true, and it only applies to exceptional cases.
And on the point about going first to Vrindavan on earth, that's after they've already become perfect in devotional service. That's
the last stop.
It's not the same as somebody who's burning off punya in the heavenly planets and then coming to the earth planet and then hopefully taking up devotional service.
No, unless they've done devotional service in the heavenly planets. I'm saying if someone has done devotional service on the higher planets and they're ready to go back to Godhead, then that's the last stop. That's the last stop. That's called Bhaumam Vrindavan.
I also had one quick question. In one of the previous verses here, in 12:3-4, it says that the impersonalists, by controlling the various senses and being equally disposed to everyone, such persons engaged in the welfare of all at last achieve me. What exactly does that mean, being engaged in the welfare of all? How does an impersonalist engage in the welfare of all? Is that philanthropic work? Or?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Because you see, they have to have some activity. The philanthropists, they fall down and they engage in welfare activities, which is on a material level. Because they know information of devotion service, right? The highest welfare activity is to give devotion service to the living entities. But they are not aware of, they are themselves not practicing devotion service. How can they give devotion service to others?
No, I was thinking that since they're impersonalists, perhaps their way of engaging in the welfare of all is to bring others to the Brahma Jyoti?
Yeah, maybe. That may be, yeah. That may be the case. But mostly that's not so. They are not supposed to preach. In the impersonal philosophy, if you have knowledge, you don't speak. If you speak, you don't have knowledge. So it's a bit hard to preach in that kind of philosophy. They still try to, but it's very hard. The moment you start speaking, that means you don't know anything. That's why you're speaking. You are silent, that means he knows the most. So that's the very confusing philosophy. So their welfare activity is on a material level only, has to be. There can't be any other way. Because there's nothing to canvas. You're telling someone there is nothing. You don't need to canvas for that. Isn't it? Ultimately, what are you telling them? You're telling them there is nothing. So rather than do that, you engage in some welfare activities so that at least some time passes. Eventually they'll come to nothing. It's like saying empty your mind. Even the thought of emptying the mind is emptying only. Is a thought. So there's no emptying. So this philosophy is full of contradictions. The welfare activity purpose is open hospitals and schools and doing those kind of philanthropic work. Okay, we're really getting late now. Before anyone puts up the hand, where is Mataji? You're there? Book is ready.